Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. I am so glad you could join us today. We usually touch on a lot of different mental health topics, but today we're going to zero in on something that is often misunderstood: OCD, or obsessive compulsive disorder. Many people think it's just about being neat or liking things in a straight line, but there is so much more to it. Joining me today is a woman who has been living with OCD for several years. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm a bit nervous, but I really want to get the word out about what OCD actually feels like.
We appreciate your bravery. Let's start off with the basics. When did you first notice that your thoughts were perhaps different from your friends' thoughts?
It's hard to pinpoint the exact moment, but it started to crop up when I was about 12. I began to dwell on things that most kids didn't care about. For example, I would worry that if I didn't step over the rug in a specific way, something bad would happen to my parents. I knew it didn't make sense, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread.
That sounds incredibly heavy for a child. Did you try to bring it up with anyone back then?
No, I kept it all inside. I was afraid people would think I was crazy. I thought I could just deal with it on my own. But as I got older, the rules in my head started to pile up. It wasn't just about rugs anymore. It was about checking the stove, locking the door 5 times, and washing my hands until they were raw.
I think that's a common misconception. People see the hand washing and they think, oh, she's just a clean person. But it's not about cleanliness, is it?
Not at all. It's about anxiety. The washing is a compulsion. It's something I do to get rid of the obsession, which is the scary thought. If I don't wash my hands, my brain tells me I will come down with a terrible disease. Even if I know it's not likely, I can't brush it aside.
It sounds like a full-time job. How does this play out in your daily life now? For instance, what is your morning routine like?
It's exhausting. I have to set aside an extra hour every morning just for my rituals. I'll get up, and immediately the thoughts start. I have to check that my alarm was actually off, even though I just heard it. I have to look over my apartment to make sure everything is safe. If I feel like I did a ritual wrong, I have to start over. It makes me run late for work almost every day.
Does your boss know? Have you opened up to them about it?
I eventually had to. I was falling behind on my tasks because I spent so much time checking my emails for mistakes. I was terrified I'd mix up 2 numbers and get fired. My boss was actually very understanding, which helped me calm down a bit, but the internal pressure is still there.
You mentioned that OCD isn't just about being tidy. Can we talk through the intrusive thoughts aspect? I think that's the part people find the hardest to explain.
Definitely. Intrusive thoughts are like pop-up ads in your brain that you can't close. They are often violent or scary images that pop into your head out of nowhere. For a long time, I thought these thoughts meant I was a bad person. I would beat myself up over things I hadn't even done. My therapist helped me realize that these thoughts are the opposite of who I am. My brain is just acting up.
That realization must have been a huge turning point. How did you find a therapist who understood this?
I had to look into specialized treatments. I found someone who does ERP, exposure and response prevention. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. They basically ask you to face your fears without doing the ritual. So I had to touch a doorknob and not wash my hands. I thought I would break down, but eventually the anxiety started to wear off.
That sounds incredibly intense. Do you feel like you have a handle on it now?
I have good days and bad days. I don't think OCD ever fully goes away, but I've learned how to cope with the spikes. When a thought comes, I try to let it be instead of fighting it. If I fight it, it just grows stronger.
That's such a powerful way to look at it. For our listeners who might be struggling with similar thoughts, what would you say to them? What's the first step they should take on?
Please, don't give up hope. You aren't your thoughts. Reach out to a professional and look for support groups. You don't have to carry the burden alone. Once you come to terms with the fact that it's a medical condition, it becomes much easier to manage.
In the first part, we touched on how these symptoms started in childhood. Now, I want to dig a little deeper. When you were in high school, how did you get through the day without your friends noticing your rituals?
To be honest, it was like leading a double life. I had to come up with so many excuses. If I had to wash my hands for the 10th time, I'd tell my friends I just spilled something. I became a very good liar because I didn't want to stand out. I just wanted to fit in like everyone else.
That sounds incredibly lonely. Did you ever feel like you were burning out from the constant acting?
Oh, definitely. By the time I got home, I was wiped out. I would go straight to my room and just let it all out. The rituals would take over my whole evening. I couldn't even get down to my homework because my brain was so busy checking things. My grades started to slip up, and my parents began to worry about me.
It's interesting you mention your parents. Did they pick up on any of the signs? Or were you too good at hiding it?
My mom started to notice how much water we were using. She thought it was just a phase, or that I was being a neat freak. One day, she caught me checking the front door lock over and over again. She didn't scold me, but she sat me down to talk it over. That was the first time I actually broke down and told her, "Mom, I can't stop my brain."
That must have been a huge relief, to finally get it off your chest.
It was, but also terrifying, because once you give it a name, it becomes real. We decided to look around for help. At first, we went to a regular doctor, but they didn't really clue us in on what was happening. They just said I was stressed. It took a long time to find out that I specifically needed a specialist in OCD.
Let's talk about the social side. Did this get in the way of dating or making close friends?
It made it very hard to bond with people. I was always in my head. If I was on a date, I wasn't listening to the other person. I was worrying if I had left the iron on at home. I would cut the night short just to go back and check. People thought I was bored or rude, but I was just consumed by fear.
How do you deal with those what-if thoughts now? For example, if you are sitting here with me and you suddenly think, did I lock my car?
I use a technique my therapist pointed out. I tell myself, that is an OCD thought, not a real thought. I have to sit with the discomfort. It's like a wave. It builds up, it gets really high, and then it eventually washes away. If I go and check the car, I'm just feeding the monster. If I stay here, I'm starving it.
Feeding the monster. That's a great way to put it. What about medication? Did you ever try it out?
I did. I was a bit wary of it at first. I didn't want to change who I am. But my doctor explained that medication just levels the playing field. It lowers the noise in my head, so I can actually focus on my therapy. It's not a magic pill, but it helps me keep my head above water.
Many people give up on therapy because it's too hard or they don't see results right away. What kept you going through the tough times?
I just got tired of my world getting smaller and smaller. OCD makes your life tiny. You stop going places. You stop meeting people. I wanted my life back. I had to remind myself that the pain of therapy is temporary, but the pain of OCD is forever if you don't face it.
That is so profound. Looking back, what's one thing you wish you could tell your younger self?
I'd tell her to hang in there. I'd tell her that she isn't crazy or weird. She just has a brain that's a bit too protective. And most importantly, I'd tell her to speak up sooner. There is no shame in asking for a hand.
You mentioned that you often feel exhausted. Is that because you are constantly fighting off these thoughts?
Exactly. It's like having a loud radio playing in the back of your head 24/7, and you can't turn it down. You are trying to have a normal conversation, but the radio is screaming, "Did you lock the door? Is your hand dirty? Did you say something mean?" You have to filter out the noise just to function.
That sounds like it would make it hard to focus on your career. You mentioned your boss was understanding, but how do you manage to get your actual work done when the radio is so loud?
I've had to work out a system. I use a lot of checklists. If I check an item off, I tell myself, I am not allowed to go back and check it again. It's hard, and sometimes I break my own rules, but I'm trying to stick to a routine. I also try to break down big tasks into smaller ones so I don't feel vamped up or overwhelmed.
You are incredibly strong. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It's been truly eye-opening.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad I could clear things up.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week to take up another important topic. Until then, take care of yourselves.